All right, so today we are going into part 2 of the webinar training blitz going on right now of the triple threat for business domination. And today you can see in red, we're going to be talking about the second P, profit spike. So, hey guys, thanks for hopping on here. I'm glad you guys are here today. Appreciate you. I have a lot to cover. This is a really great topic, and it's very exciting to have profit spikes in your business, but there's a lot of sequencing that goes into how to create them, what's the psychology behind them so that you can really make the most out of creating profit spikes in your business. That's really what it's all about. So with no further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. If you are catching the replay right now, or even if you guys are here on live, you may want to have some notes ready, or at least be ready to take some screenshots, because even though today's training's free, it will be packaged up and put into an area that will be paid. There's a lot of information in here, and consider yourself lucky if you're listening the first time. All right, so. And I do apologize just a little bit. I'm under the weather, so hopefully you can bear with my stuffy sound. All right, so let's get into this profit spikes right here. So profit spikes, what are they? It is a term that I coined, but basically it's income that comes in short bursts due to a launch or a promoted event. I mean, that's really what it is. It is not the same as your consistent income. It's completely opposite. The income that you're putting out there due to all of your regular marketing efforts, you definitely don't want to stop that by any means. You certainly want to be putting all of that out there. But you want to make sure that you are also incorporating profit spikes into your business. And after going through this training, you're really going to understand how to do that, okay? Now, if you can have both, you absolutely want to. You don't want to just have one model in your business. And that just kind of speaks for itself. There's a lot of things can happen. You don't have control over everything. So it gives you a better stable business model in case something does happen that's out of your control, all right? Profit spikes come from dedicated work, all right? You've got to do some work ahead of time. This definitely is something that needs to be planned out. It's very specific. It's very dedicated and targeted. And there's, like I said, there's some sequencing that we're going to go into on how to actually do this. And this really is the key. You get the work done ahead of time. You figure out your dates. You figure out when you want to launch something, when you want to have these profit spikes come in, and then you kind of work backwards, okay? So let's get into that right now. Profit spikes come easy, and yes, there's definitely work involved, but if you follow the formula and you follow the templates and all that stuff, it's not a hard formula to do. It's going to come easy to you when you use that. So when you've gathered interested people through a really great hook that grabs their attention, they're going to want to come throughout the entire ride, okay? Because once they're hooked, once you figure that out, why are they coming? What is it that you're going to be teaching? And then some of the things that we're going to talk about now. Once you figure that out, you got to get them to stay. And to be able to do that, they need to feel the story behind what's coming. Something is coming. Now, if you're kind of wondering, what are you doing right now? What are you trying to figure out? We're going to talk specifics about how to get these profit spikes and how to launch them out there. But right now, I just want you to kind of understand the psychology behind this, why this actually works, all right? So there's got to be some type of story that's coming around. Why is what you're going to be talking about, why is that going to help them? And what are they going to get out of it? So those of you guys that are hopping on right now, welcome. Glad to have you here. Definitely talking about profit spikes today. Had a bunch of you just hop on right now. So here's the deal. For this to work, right, for these profit spikes, for this launch formula that we're going to talk about to work, they need to have proof that this is something that they want to be a part of. So that's why this story is a really big deal, and that's why I'm starting with it. I'm going to get to those specifics on the sequencing, but you got to understand why this actually works to be able to implement the sequence correct, all right? Think about human psychology. Think about why people are doing what they're doing. People always want to feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves. That is a huge, huge deal. We're human beings. Human nature is to be a part of something else. All of the social media sites that we have now, it's to be, gathering, to be a part of something, even if it's virtual. If you think about the diehard sports fans, the people that dress up and they go to all the games, they're not actually participating in the event. They're not the players that are going out there. They're the fans. They're the ones that are absolutely enjoying the entire thing because they're one of thousands all rooting for the same thing. It's the same psychology. more so into the business industry, especially in more of the entrepreneur industry, when you have different events that are coming out, either local or around the world, and you're going for a specific reason, to be taught something, to either it's personal development or it's a technique. The people that are going to an event, you all have the same goal. You're going to be a part of something. Whether or not you use that information is not the main goal. You're going to learn something, but why do you continuously go back? It's the people that you meet, it's going around and feeling that wholeness of what you're going to. Right? So that's what you want to use in your advantage in the story that you're about to create. The story that you're creating about why someone's going to follow you, why they want to be a part of what you're doing. That's the psychology behind that. Okay? And I want to give you a perfect example. I know I talked about Hollywood and the promo of this right now, but I'll get to that in a second. But this is something that's different. And I think the Hollywood references, I mean, they're the people that put it on the map for sure. But this gives you a really great example. So I live here in Tampa, Florida. We're very close to Walt Disney World in Orlando. It's a little bit over an hour away. We have passes. We go there all the time. All right. Well, I think it was last year, maybe year before. I don't even remember exactly when it was. They finally came out with their brand new Snow White roller coaster. All right, it was like this big, big ordeal, especially if you lived around this area or you have anything to do with Disney. All right. Because it's a brand new type of ride. So it was the first of its category. So if you can ever have a first of a category, that's a really big deal, all right? But this one is a first because what it did was it incorporated the two things that people already like. So it was already a proven concept. It was a roller coaster type of ride that also incorporated their entertainment story rides, which kind of is eye candy. If you can think of like It's a Small World after all, where you're sitting in the little boat and you're kind of going around. It's not a thrill ride by any means, but it's following a story, the Winnie the Pooh ride, things like that. Okay, so you're just watching and looking. Well, they put that together, so you had this big roller coaster, and then it also slowed down, and it had all of the Snow Whites and all of the dwarfs and all of that stuff. Okay. So here's the deal. Like that's really what it was in case you're not familiar. The buildup for this new attraction started over a year in advance. All right, a whole year in advance, you started to hear the buzz about this if you were around in that space. Now, if you're not having anything to do with Disney World or you don't have kids or anything like that, you may not know anything about it. Well, that's fine. It's not like they're going out there and targeting you. They're targeting the people that are already there. That's their warm market. It's the exact same thing that you're going to be doing in your business, all right? So they started putting signs around the park, not just Magic Kingdom, all of the parks, Animal Kingdom, Epcot, all of that. You started to see little signs, just little teasers, like brand new Fantasyland coming, brand new ride is coming. And they hadn't done a brand new ride like that in a really long time, so it was a big deal. Any of the workers, any of the time that they had a chance to say anything about it, their faces would light up. They would get all excited when they mentioned it. Disney has an amazing training program through their people, and they were like clockwork. You got this excited feel just when someone mentioned it. Now, because we were pass holders to Disney, we got progress reports in the mail and through email about how it was progressing. They were keeping us in the loop. And then they were having some testimonials about how people were so excited to go on it. Like they hadn't even gone through it yet. It wasn't even built, but yet people were already excited. Okay, so think about what they're actually doing and what they're creating. The buzz that they were creating about this new ride was bigger than anything that I had seen in the last few years combined. And we'd been pass holders for a really long time. What did they do? They took their lessons also from Hollywood on launching this event of a brand new roller coaster ride opening, right? And here's what else they didn't actually do, which I find interesting thinking back. They didn't even let the pass holders get first look like they had done before. When they opened up a brand new Fantasyland area of the park, I'm supposed to say park right here, they let all the pass holders go in first. That was like, hey, this is one of your benefits. Well, they didn't do that for this ride. The buzz was legit, and there was going to be scarcity. So they didn't even let the best people come in. It was that big of a deal, which almost made you feel like, wow, you wanted to know and go on it even more. All right. So then they released a YouTube video that took part of the ride and showed a little bit, just a little teaser, and it made it seem amazing. And as soon as that little video came out, the buzz grew even more. And this was months before it was even ready to open. All right. People wanted to be the first person ever to get on that ride. That was what this was all about. This buzz was because think of the psychology behind that. Like they wanted to be the first person on this ride. Probably not because it wasn't the fastest roller coaster. It wasn't like the biggest thing ever. It was just Disney did an amazing job of being iconic and launching this out, and people wanted a part of it. All right. Advance tickets to go to Disney World skyrocketed. You can go anytime you want just because it's, open. It wasn't anything special, but advance tickets for people that were planning trips around the launch of this roller coaster started skyrocketing. This is what was crazy. For people that go there all the time, the fast passes, like you have a little mobile thing where you can say like you don't have to go wait in the line, you can jump ahead. Those sold out within 1 month of advance. Like you can't get 1 month prior to the date, you can get a fast pass. Okay, so basically, if you know you're going to Disney in a month, as soon as that 30 days is there, you can go in there and say, "Oh, I want a fast pass." Now, normally people don't do that, right? Like 30 days ahead of time, that's a really big deal to plan that you're going to go on a ride. But I will tell you, the minute that 30-day thing opened up, fast passes were sold out, and for 6 months after that, fast passes were sold out. Like it was crazy frenzy. I think I waited finally when I was like, okay, you know what? Well, we'll go on this date. And then I thought, wow, I guess I need to go get those fast passes. That's crazy, but okay. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. I went in and like 2 hours after like it had rolled over, completely sold out. All right. So it was real. Like the scarcity was real. All right, so now the roller coaster like opens up. Like the ride is open, the reviews start coming out, people are on it, right? The ride was good. The ride wasn't phenomenal. The ride wasn't like the most amazing thing. It was great. Disney Fashion, they did a great job, right? But here's the deal. It wasn't really like the hype, the massive buildup for an entire year. There was almost a little bit of a letdown because it was just this great ride, yes, but like for an entire year, you're hearing all of this. But what was really interesting is that people don't care. Even though people started saying, yeah, it was great, they still wanted to be a part of it. They still wanted to go on it. And the wait time to get on that ride never went below 90 minutes for that first year. 90-minute wait always. And that's like, it would be longer for like weekends and stuff. It never went below that. So people were willing to spend an hour and a half just waiting in line to get on this ride, even though the videos had been out, the reviews have been out. Think about that. How is that possible? Well, people want to say that they went on it. They want to be a part of something exclusive. They did an amazing job of that entire buildup, and the fact that people can say, yeah, I went on the new Diamond, I think it's Dwarf Mine, I think that's what it's called, and it was really cool. Like that just, it's limited. Not that many people can get on. It was hard to get on unless you're willing to wait in line, right? So take that then and just really apply it to a little bit more specifics of the Hollywood movie launch, because that is what you're going to be able to do in your business. And that's what we're really going to talk about right now. So the Hollywood movie launch, this is where the launch formula, it's perfected. Hollywood has spent millions of dollars perfecting this, and it's trickled down throughout businesses. Think about what people are always talking about when there's a big movie coming up. What is it going to be doing opening weekend? That is the numbers, the hype around those numbers. It's a huge, huge deal, right? Why is that so? Why is it such a big deal? Well, yes, they want to have, top numbers in the box office. And yes, they want to make a lot of money. But movies stay in the theaters for weeks, right? Isn't that movie that came out just as good 3 weeks later? If it's a blockbuster and everybody loves it, isn't that movie just as good 3 weeks later as it is the first weekend? Yeah, it absolutely is. But think about how fast that hype dies out after the movie's been out for 2 weeks. If you go see a huge blockbuster opening weekend film 2-3 weeks later, there's no lines and there's open seats. That's crazy if you really think about that. Why did everybody want to stand in line? Why did everybody want to go through the crowds when right away in opening weekend when they could just do it a couple weeks later and not have any of that, right? Think about that. Why would people want to do that? It's a big thing. It's because it's the psychology of the launch. They want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. They want to be part of something a little bit exclusive. And then they can, human nature, they can talk a little bit about like, well, yeah, I did that. I was part of that. I was there. Okay. Now, if the businesses are smart, if the movies are smart, they can keep this ride going a little bit longer by marketing toys, marketing other offers. That'll keep their sales after the launch is even after that effect is gone. They'll be able to launch out different things. And you see that as they start doing that. As toys come out just a little while later, oh yeah, these toys are out, the kids want them, right? And then it goes away. And then what? The DVD and the Blu-ray come out. Well, they get to launch that again and have that momentum come up again. And then, going back to Disney, they even take their movies off the shelf. Like they put them in the vault for like legit reasons, and you can't actually buy a brand new one. Snow White, oh, that's funny, it's the same reference. Snow White movie, it was in the vault for almost 50 years. You could not buy a brand new Snow White movie. It was interesting why they did that, but how big of a rush did people run out and buy that brand new movie, even though it had been in circulation forever from, being able to watch it? It's the same psychology, okay? So how do they get that much buzz in the first place? How do they get you there? It's the story. It's the emotion. It's how what they're creating and what they've done is going to affect you. That's how they do it. It's how is it going to affect you? And it's all done on story and it's all done on emotion. We're human emotional beings, okay? So how can you use this in your business? All right, now, if you follow our podcast or if you're on our blog, we talked about this specifically on episode 62. So I'll certainly refer you back to the Results 513 show because Justin and I talk about our first instances in using the launch formula in our own business and what our results were. And so I don't want to talk about that right now because it's over there. What I want to do now is go deeper because that's what we said we were going to do on the podcast. This training is going deeper into how do you actually do it. But I can tell you, as soon as I started implementing this into my business, the first time I ever used the launch formula like I'm going to share with you, I did one webinar and I made $15,000 on that one webinar, and I hadn't done anything close to that, ever. Like, not even close. I knew it was possible, but certainly it wasn't possible for me. I thought, using this formula, this is what worked. And so we've been using this formula in our business, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine how many times we've doing it. It's because it works, all right? So let's talk about that. How do you take Hollywood's launch effect of what they're doing and implement it into your business? So the first thing, and this is where we're going to get into the specifics right now. So is this making sense to you guys? Before I get into this, like, does this make sense? Are you understanding? Are you following me? Right? Good stuff. Yes. Awesome. Okay, cool. All right. So let's get into it. Yeah, let's definitely get into it right now. Okay. So you think about yourself, what you're doing, what your business is. Maybe you don't have a business. Maybe you just have an idea right now. You're in the right spot because going back to ground zero of how do I get profit spikes into my business will bring up some questions that you may or may not know the answers to. And if you don't know the answers to them, this is a great checkpoint that, okay, let's figure them out. All right. So the first step to be able to figure this out right here is what's your hook? Everything in your business, whatever you're selling, if it's a product or service or anything, needs to have a hook. And I remember the first time I was asked that question. I was on a private coaching call and his first question was, what's your hook? And I kind of didn't even know what he meant. I was like, well, my hook? I don't know. How are you hooking people in? The entire world is a vast ocean of fish swimming around. How are you hooking one of them or hooking a bunch of them to get them to follow you? All right. So you got to figure that out. Why does someone want what you have? What would get them interested to stop what they're doing and pay attention to you? That is your hook right there. All right. So to be able to answer that question a little bit better, ask yourself the following questions. How is your product or your service, whatever it is that you're making money off of, going to affect them? That's a big one. It's not you, and yes, it's going to solve a problem, but really go into emotions on this one. How is it going to affect them? What is the result of the result that you're going to give them? You're solving someone's problem, right? That's what we do. Whether it's a service or a product, they have a problem, you can solve it. What happens when that problem is solved? Then what are they going to do or have or feel? It's the result of this result. You want to know that, right? Take some time on that. What's the greater impact? All right, what greater impact is them buying your offer going to have upon them personally? and upon something greater than themselves. So let me explain that for a second. So they buy your product and they get this result, right? But again, in the launch formula, they want to be a part of something bigger than themselves. How can you achieve that with what you have? What type of impact are they going to have that might be able to trickle into something else? Will they be pulled into a bigger group? Will they be pulled into an industry? Will they be pulled into other people that they're going to start interacting with? Or are they going to pulled into a cause that's going to have a ripple effect? Go a couple steps beyond just the norm of, well, you're going to get this, this, and this. Go a little bit more to dig into those emotions, okay? Now, once you have that, once you've thought, now this isn't going to come to you right away. This is some stuff that takes some thought, because dealing with emotions, you have to think about it. It's a lot harder to come up with these things than it's like the tangible things. So now that you kind of understand the result that you're going to give them, what they're going to be a part of, that's going to trickle down, what story can you create that will center around that will help them help themselves? So how can you do that? All right, so there's got to be some type of story. I told you the story of the Snow White and the Dwarf Mine roller coaster. I didn't have to share that story with you. I could have just told you about launching something makes a big deal, right? But it goes deeper. All right, it helps you paint pictures. It helps you make connections in your mind with your life and what your perceptions are, right? And it's a lot better if someone comes to a conclusion on their own than you forcing it upon them by just giving them facts. All right? Now that you have this story, what or who do you have as a case study? Because obviously you got to have some social proof, all right? Some social proof of how this is working for others, how it's working for you, and you can go from there, all right? So you need to know these answers. So take the time to figure it out. Either write them down right now, if you're watching the replay, stop the video. If you're on here live, we can't stop it. We're keeping going. And take a screenshot. Hopefully you've been writing notes, okay? Because these are really important in all area of your business, not just to launch something and get profit spikes. You'll have a lot more sales if you really take the time to figure this out, okay? Okay, so the second step of this entire series now, it's really the how-to. Like, all right, so now you understand the emotion behind it. Now you understand how you're going to help the people. You've got your story kind of figured it out. How do you actually use this launch formula and get those profit spikes? All right, I'm going to take a sip for a second. Okay, so we're getting into this right now. All right, so you got to figure out this sequencing. All right, and this is a formula, which is pretty cool. That's what's really nice, is that the formula works. And you don't need to veer too far from the formula to be able to have this work in your business. All right? This is why the launch formula that Hollywood created works so well. Everything that I just told you. Now, the sequence of what and when they release this information is key. And that is really what's key to you also. How can you launch your own offer or product or service, whatever it is, and make it seem irresistible to your audience, even if they've heard your offer before? That is something that, I mean, you got to think about this. Like, if you're selling a product, you've been selling this product for a year, how do you make it sound irresistible to someone who's definitely heard you talk about it before, right? How do you launch something that's been around, right? Well, that's where you can get creative, and that's where you can go through the sequence of what we're going to talk about right here. Now, I first learned this formula a couple years ago from one of my mentors, Mark Hoverson, and he taught this in the launch formula. It was an actual training that I went through. I think it was $497, all right? So I went through very detailed training, and I use this in my business, right? So it brings it down to stuff that, we're already talking right now. If you've been following Justin and I for a while, we've been talking about webinars for a really long time. We talk about the perfect offer blueprint. We talk about making an irresistible offer. We talk about doing webinars because it's a very simple business model, and it will give you profit spikes, right? So you've got that entire plan, and that's definitely why we teach it, because it works really well. But when you can add the launch formula in front of it, you're going to just have much, much, much better results. So let's go into what are you actually launching. And this was funny because there was a lot of buzz about that product way back in the day, and everybody just wanted it because it just sounded great, right? Getting these profit spikes and using Hollywood secrets, and the marketing was brilliant on this. And what was interesting back then is that I was definitely had a lot of my friends that were going through the training at the exact same time. And there was a couple questions that someone asked. He's like, this makes sense and I understand all this, but what am I launching? Like, I don't know what I'm actually launching. I don't have anything to launch. What do I have to create a brand new product? And a lot of people were like, oh yeah, me too. I'm kind of wondering the same thing. And the good part about that is that no, right? You're launching your product or your service, whatever it is that you're selling that's making you money, or whatever it is that your idea that you want to make money on. Obviously, you have to formulate that into a product, which in fact is tomorrow. We're going to talk about product creation tomorrow on this webinar blitz. But your product or your service, and it can be new. Sure. I mean, if it's new, it's a lot easier because it's brand new. But there's a little bit of unknowns. But if it's something old, it's been like your business opportunity or the company that you've promoted for a while, that's okay. It's really all just how you portray it. And that's what we want to get into right now. The legit sequencing of how you launch your offer. So, you guys ready? You ready to get into some of this? Doing good? Yes? Okay. Yeah? Cool. All right. So, again, what is it that you're selling? Well, that could be anything. It could be an informational product, a digital product, network marketing company, a type of service that you're doing, creating websites or coaching services, selling a retail product. You certainly could have something that's physical, like a physical product certainly would work also, okay? So the reality is it doesn't really matter what you're actually selling because this entire sequence goes along for anything, okay? Because it's number 2 that really starts to stand out. Okay, especially if you have a product or service that's been going on for a while, it's not brand new. This is how you can separate and differentiate it from what you've been doing. Let's just say you've been selling a traffic strategy. Okay, so you've been selling a strategy on how to get more leads. We'll just use that. Every business needs more leads. We'll just leave it at that. You've been selling this for a while and you've been making money on it. Your list is hearing about it. You're getting brand new leads every day that are coming to it and they're hearing about it. And whether or not they buy or not, they already know what you got. Like, yep, you got this course. Okay, so that's great. So you've been selling it for a year. What in the world do you do now to launch it? Like, you got to launch it. So it really comes up to your bonuses. That's what can differentiate from the norm of what you're doing. If it's something that's ongoing. Now, if you're doing a webinar per se, which is why we like to talk about the webinar models, you could always launch a webinar. That can have different hooks. It can be the same hook to a different audience. You can always make that kind of a continuous launch type of feel. And that's why those automated webinars work so well, because you can build up the launch sequence and then they go through that entire process of all the emotional things that we're talking about here, and it can just be running continuously. Okay, so think about your offer, what it is that you're selling, and you got to make it irresistible. All right, so I'm not going to go into much about this because we definitely talk about this in our Perfect Offer Blueprint, but think about some things that might be helpful. Ask yourself the question, what else would they want? Maybe you can help them outsource something. Maybe you have an outsourcer that will do something for them. Maybe you have some scripts, or you can do website creation, or have someone that does images for them. Maybe if you're like in a network marketing company, maybe you'll help close their leads for them. Maybe you do personal coaching and really do some hand holding, some extra sessions. If you've got a retail product, you can give them some extra samples. First dibs on a new offer. If you do have something new, maybe they get into it first. People always want to be in there first. Ticket to a live event, anything. What can you add on? Anywhere between 3 and 5 bonuses that will make this offer stand out and make it different from what you've been doing. All right. Now, really think about giving away more value and not cutting your prices. You don't want to have a $500 product and just for this week you're going to slash prices to $250. That's not the goal here. That's not the launch formula. That is more of like a flash sale where you're just going to cut it and maybe be done with it. We want to give away more. We want to have them coming away with the fact that they got an amazing package, not just a discount price, okay? And the other thing is, when you're coming up with these bonuses, you got to make sure they're just congruent, right? You don't want to just throw things in there that maybe sound good, but really don't fit in with what they're doing. Really make sure you're asking the question, what else would they want? What else would really help them have more success after they buy, all right? And once you've got that, you definitely need to do a launch. And what that means is you have to have a deadline, all right? So that's why if you have a live webinar, there's like a specific date. Well, there is a deadline because the webinar is going to be over, so they either missed it or on the webinar maybe you give your offer and then there's a deadline for all of the bonuses. All right, so there's a legit deadline. Maybe you just have this continuously running. You're launching it for an entire week and then it goes away, and you definitely just take it away and no one can buy it. Right? Maybe it's really just sold for this period of time, and then maybe it'll come out later again as like a second release with maybe different price points or different bonuses or something like that. But you got to make sure that the deadline's legit. All right, so don't say like this is going away in 48 hours and it says that on the page all the time. Right? You definitely don't want to do that. So the deadline either would be it's time related. Those are kind of the examples that I just gave. Like this is going to go away at this particular date. Or it could go, this is going to go away when I've sold this many. Maybe one of the bonuses that you're doing or maybe the offer that you're doing, you can only handle 5. Maybe you can only take 5 people at a time because you're doing like actual services that take up your time. Well, once you sold 5, that's it. That's a legit scarcity and you can't sell anymore until you get those done. So figure out what your deadline is going to be, what you're going to be offering, and how long you want that to last. All right. So once you've got that figured out, you got to have that story to revolve around. All right. Again, I was doing yesterday, my dog was sleeping next to me, and now he's like dreaming and making noise. Cody, stop. He's like right next to me. So let's go back. So what is the story that is going to revolve around? And this is different from the emotional story, okay? This is more of a time-related story. So it kind of goes back to that hook. Why are they coming? But better yet, why now? Why is it that now is the time that you're doing it? Revolve it around something because it makes it a lot easier. If you've got your own issue, like if you just had this major aha moment and you can build an entire story around, look, this just happened to me. I have so much to share and I'm going to talk about this right now. Totally fine. But you can also use an event or a time frame. It's your birthday. There's a holiday coming up. It's Black Friday. It's the first of the year. The first quarter's over. That kind of things. If you've got event-based marketing where you can wrap your story or wrap your launch around it, it just makes it a lot easier because people are already in the mind frame that there's something coming up. All right. Now, birthday's a little different. They may not know it's your birthday, but if you have a good relationship with them and you say you're doing a birthday special, people will actually want to be on it and they'll want to come. All right, so think about what is coming up. Where are you in your business right now? Or as it gets to the end of the quarter when summer's coming. So I've done a lot with the summer bash. Different things like how to be able to have so much fun over the summer and make incomes coming in without working a lot while your kids are home. So stuff like that. Like just be thinking it's a lot easier to do things around that. All right, so now once you've got this figured out, all right, so you've got your timeline, you've got your time frame, you're understanding all these things, now it's time to let people know, right? Now it's time to do that entire buzz that we talked about in the beginning. And you do this by going to your warm market first. You're always going to your warm market first, all right? You're going to reveal, number 5, hey, heads up, something's coming. Something is coming. I'm really excited about it. You don't tell them what it is, but you say something's coming. And you start doing a little bit of teasers out to them, right? But here's what you want to do. This is what separates this apart from just a normal, hey, guess what, guys? Something's coming up and you got this. All right, you're putting them now onto a waiting list. This is the true launch formula, okay? And it's going to pull in a few more emotional factors that make this work. So you've got a video. I would certainly do a video versus maybe just some text on a page. It's going to work a lot better if you're doing your own video. But you come on the page and you explain what's coming, or you have it professionally created, or it's just something fun. It's excitement. Something's coming that's going to solve this problem, and get on the waiting list or the early bird list to get first details. All right, you got to grab their lead, and you want this to be a specific list. Like this is a launch list of people that are interested in getting this information. All right, so they're going to a waiting list. They're not going to buy. The buy's not ready yet. There is no buy button at this stage. You're just saying, hey, heads up, something's coming, it's really cool, it's going to help you do this, this, and this. And if you want the information, if you want to be the first to let me know, if you want to make sure that you're getting these details, put your email, name and email in here, and you will get put on the waiting list or priority list or whatever you want to make it sound great, and you'll be the first to know. People want to be the first to know, okay? So the deal is that if they're on this waiting list, they get this information before anyone else. Maybe even they get an extra bonus for being on the waiting list, but it's going to lead off of that desire of, hey, I want to be the first to know. I want to be in on something that not everybody is in on yet. And it's all in the way that you position it. If you think this is going to be really awesome and you're letting them know, like, hey, look, I'm coming to you guys first right now. Get on this waiting list because you're going to get priority. You're going to get to go ahead and have the opportunity to get this information an hour before everybody else. But then I'm going out and I'm telling everyone, and I'm going to have tons of people that are going to come through this. Don't you want to be there first? You play off that emotion card, all right? And then whenever you decide to launch, like, okay, so I'm going to have all of this ready by November 1st, 1 week before that, 1 week, you want to start rolling this out. You want to have a whole week of that buzz. Any more than a week, it's kind of just a little bit too long in these days, unless you've got like some really big players and you've got a lot of stuff that's going to be going out there. Attention spans and things just coming up. If I know something's 2 weeks out, it's kind of like, oh, okay, I can put that in the back of my mind. 2 weeks out, that's fine. A week out is a good time frame. Okay, so that's going to start next Thursday. I can keep that in my mind. All right, good to go. So a week before, you're ready to open the buy now button. All right, there's no buy now, but a week before is when you start revealing that something is coming to your list. And give them about a week of this. All right, and that gives you to number 6 right here. Is the people that are getting on this waiting list, you got to follow up with them. You got to remind them that they signed up for it, right? And you got to give them reasons why they're excited about it. Every day something is coming with a little bit more information, a little bit more teaser, a little bit more value that is going to share with them why they want to be on there on launch day. Okay? And there's nothing wrong with letting them know like you're going to be selling something because you're giving them value this whole time. All right? So there's an email series that you're going to be sending just to the waiting list people. It's specifically to them, gaining momentum perception. Like, okay, wow, this is coming. This sounds really great. All right? Every day you're showing them something of value of what's inside that offer and how it's going to impact them. Okay? And then, again, what? We got to have some scarcity. We got to have some deadlines. We got to have some social proof. Maybe the fact is that, you know what? I only have 3 spots available when this goes live in 4 days, and I've got 12 people on the waiting list right now. All right, now those don't need to be big numbers, right? You don't need to be in the hundreds. You can do this with a very small list because right there, well, I only have 3 spots, but I've got 12 people that said they want it. How bad do you want it, right? Any type of videos that you can do behind the scenes of what you're creating, any type of like in the know, showing how excited you are, that kind of stuff is going to help. It's just going to give them that feeling of, hey, I'm in the know. Like I'm on this priority list and I get to see the behind the scenes. Nobody else does. It's playing off these emotions, which is why this works. Now, at the same time, where you're giving your waitlist people some extra information, you're still out there going after your regular list, going out on a social media, and trying to get everybody else out there onto your waiting list so that they can get this information, all right? And so you're launching, basically, getting buzz. You're getting buzz everywhere that you can, figuring out how and what you're going to say. That's part of the marketing for this. All right. The call to action, get on that waiting list, right? You put those posts out on Facebook. Maybe it goes back to a really cool video. Call to action, get on that wait list. Be the first to know. Remind them of any benefits that the waitlist people actually get. So maybe there's, and this doesn't have to be like bonuses or anything, but what benefit? What are they going to get if they get to go onto that actual waitlist? Okay. And that brings us then, it's time to actually launch your offer. You've been giving them the buzz. They've been getting emails. They know something's coming. You've been posting on social media. You're excited about the fact that this is starting. And boom, the time comes. And you should have a time. Like it should go live Tuesday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right? If you're not doing a webinar, you definitely want to have something like that put in place. A legit time. Not just when it flips over from midnight. Not just like on a date. We're talking like an actual launch. Okay? So like there's that date there. If it's a webinar, obviously that's easy because the webinar's got a date and time. So yes, it definitely needs to be time sensitive. Live webinar is best to accomplish this. You certainly could have just a video sales page that goes live. There's nothing wrong with taking your presentation, the sales presentation, putting it onto a page, and doing that, as long as you've got like a specific time that it goes out and it's ready to go. If you do that, you definitely want to have a countdown timer on that page, show the bonuses, show that when the offer is going to expire, because remember, you got to have that deadline. If there's not a deadline on this doesn't work. You got to make sure that you've got the scarcity. There's going to be a start and an end to a launch. And that's why you think about Hollywood, the movies go away. After about 3 weeks, they're taken out of the theaters and you can't watch them again for months. It's the same philosophy. All right. So while this is actually live, while your offer is going out there, you are still emailing your waitlist people and you're emailing your regular list and you're out there on social media letting people know that it's live. And if it's not just a webinar, like if it's just a webinar, obviously you're out there. Maybe you're doing more than one, but once the webinar is over, it's pretty much over. Maybe you're sending the replay out, and that's fine. But if it's maybe live and it's going to be going for 3 days, maybe you're going to have this promo going for 3 full days, and then it's going to be taken down at 9 o'clock at night, Friday night, right? So just let people know where it is. If you have a longer launch period where you're having something for sale for maybe 3-4 days, know that most of the sales are going to come in on the beginning when it goes live, because you'll probably have some fast action bonuses for people. And then you'll also have a bigger kind of influx of those profit spikes right towards the end, last minute. People are procrastinators. They're going to wait till the last minute, and they'll buy that also. This really is the most important time of the actual launch, when you're live, making sure everybody knows that you're live. The buy now button is there. The bonuses are there. The bonuses are expiring. As you have people buy, you can start adding to your sales page, social proof, screenshots, video testimonials of people that are already been inside, things that have already been said. So as the launch continues, people are buying, you can just add more things to it. Now, if you're on a webinar, obviously you can't do that. But towards the end of your webinar, you certainly give out the call to action. If people are buying right then pull them out. Pull them out onto the webinar and say, hey, why'd you buy? Have them sell for you. It's a great thing to be able to do that and have other people say why they bought, okay? So, you like that? Sound good? Like you can see, there's a lot that goes into it, but it's a very sequenced formula on how you actually do this, all right? Now, as you're doing this, number 10 is really document what you did, how it worked, how you used the information, because you'll want to do it again. You want to learn what worked, learn what was too hard, learn what you would do better after the whole thing is said and done. How would you have changed things? What feedback came from people? That kind of stuff, okay? Because the method of launching, it just doesn't get old. It hones in on human nature, curiosity, and the wanting to belong to something greater than themselves. And that's not going to go away. That's timeless. So incorporating that into your marketing is why this works so well. Okay? When it's positioned that way, this launch formula works. It gives you those profit spikes on demand. And that really is the goal, right? So this right here of everything that we did was a very broad overview of how the launch formula works. I know I went into specifics. I went into the how. I went through the sequencing. But that also brings up the next question of, well, what are you saying? How are you saying it? Yes, you could build this all from scratch and figure these things out. But what I want to do right now is just give you the opportunity to look at what's also available with templates and verbiage, because wouldn't it be nice to have these emails with all of that stuff? So where was it? It's about right here. The follow-up emails that you're giving to your waiting list, the ones that are going out to the social media. If you could have the templates to that, oh my gosh, it's so much easier. And I'm saying that because I had them. Like I went through that training that I told you that I bought. I had all the templates. Justin had all the templates. He didn't even finish going through. He told me that earlier today, that he didn't even finish going through the training because after the first, I think it was the first module was in 3 parts. After that first module, he knew enough exactly what to do. He went straight to the templates and didn't even change the templates word for word. And he went out there, and I think I don't remember, it's on the podcast how much he made, but it was definitely a couple thousand very easily. So that's what I want to share with you right now. There's a new program that I'm really excited about because I've gone through all of these trainings and they're for sale again and they're timeless. Like I said, this doesn't go anywhere. And it's inside what's called the Invisible Empire. All right, it holds the actual launch formula training, and it is extremely in-depth. When we decided that we wanted to talk about this, I haven't actually taught the launch formula in depth in a while. I use it, but teaching is just a little bit different. And so I went back to that training. Actually, it was this morning when I was putting this together, and I was like, wow, there's a lot in here. This is really, really great. But there's 15 modules going way deeper than I just went. I mean, I only talked to you for like 45 minutes on this. All right, they're talking about the psychology. It gives you the written templates that you can use for all those follow-up messages. All right, so I just want to show you real quick why I love it right now for anybody who's serious about crushing it in the next 3 months in their business, using the internet to do it, because it just makes it really easy. So let's move this out of my screen. So this is the Invisible Empire, and there's a lot of different trainings inside of here. I've been through every single one of these trainings. These trainings are part of Mark Hoverson's kind of, if you don't know him, you can certainly look him up, but he's one of my original mentors, good friends now. But every training of these, I've bought all of them, and they got me to where I am today. The fact that I have the opportunity to recommend them to other people now, I really like it because I know how much they helped me, and I'm glad I can be able to at least share that with you. All right, because like I said, the first time I used this information, I made $15,000. Huge return on investment, right? So the launch formula, literally, if you click this button, I'm literally showing you inside right now, okay? So these are all the different modules, and you can just go into, like, I'll pull in, where was it? I think it was module 1, part 3. And if you click into it, you'll be able to see, like, these are all in here. This is how in-depth this actually is. So if you're interested in, like, this formula and being able to use it in your business, I wanted to share this with you because everything you would ever need to know, everything, I mean, I did. I was able to do it from here. Justin was able to do it from here. That was before we even knew each other, okay? This is all in here. So I just wanted to share with you that the ability to get the specifics that you actually want right now is here. So that is what Invisible Empire is. You can see it has the launch formula, which sold, so it sold for $497. Talk about a return on investment, right? $497. The first time I used it, I made $15,000. Now, granted, I was selling a product that gave me a $3,000 commission. So I'm going to put that out there. If I got a $3,000 commission and I made $15,000, well, I had 5 buyers on that email. That's huge, right? If you're not selling something that makes as much money, but you have a bigger reach, maybe you could do the same. Either way, the process continues. I've used this over and over. But these are the other products that are inside the Invisible Empire. And when you buy, I just showed you inside of it, right? Like back to that home or whatever. Like all of those things are in there. And that's just, it's pretty cool. I just like the fact that I get to talk about it right now. So yesterday, if you were on our webinar blitz, we talked about the $1 Million Day. That's part of the 8-figure launch. All of the productivities are in there. Leadership branding, I bought that for $997. That was where I really learned how to start branding myself in anything that I did. Any affiliate products that I did, I was able to brand myself. And I had a very small list, but I was able to hang in there in big affiliate competitions because of what I learned from this course right here. Info Blueprint, I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. I've got some 3 things, product creation, closing on sales, and then what's working now, and like with paid ads. Definitely going into depth tomorrow. So if you're listening right now or catching the replay tomorrow or the next one that comes out, I'm definitely going into that one. But futuristic marketing really goes into some psychology of list building, some different things. These 2 right here, I love them. Facebook Mastery. If you ever wanted to do Facebook ads and you wanted the step-by-step tutorial version of it, now this is not from Mark. It's from one of his students actually, but he does an amazing job. I just had one of my clients go through it 2 days ago, and she texted me and saying that this is an amazing presentation. I know exactly what to do. I didn't ask her to say that. The fact that she said that was like, cool, that's awesome. So I know what he's doing. He's making huge money off of these ads, and he's walking you through how to do it. So Pictures to Profit is basically the same thing using Instagram. So again, I'm going to talk about that tomorrow. But here's the deal. This one right here, this is the one that I really like. All of this stuff can be confusing. Honestly, in my opinion, when you have so much information thrown at you, and you're not really sure where to go, that was my one downside when I was talking to Mark when he was creating this. I was like, that's great, and I love giving value, but I don't like people being confused. I want them to know exactly where to go, when to go, because most of this stuff right here is higher level. I want to say that. Like, this is higher level mindset, psychology, what really works. If I had to say like the secret sauce to marketing, that's what this stuff is. I've learned all of this. That's what really took me to the next level when I started implementing this. It's not all the how-to stuff, but you can't forget that some of that how-to stuff is important. So Mark loves gamification, which is really cool because it makes things fun. He implemented this 37 steps on exactly what to do to get started and when you should listen to the different things in each one of them. He didn't put a price on that, but I know how powerful that is, and I was like, well, if I would sell that, I would definitely sell it for $4.97 because not only does it tell you what to do, when to do it, it gives you the trainings on how to do it. So anyway, I don't want this to be a hard sell. I'm just sharing with you that the fact that, oh yeah, you get these cool things. Like when you buy this digital thing, you also get this cool box that's got the Invisible Empire journal. The Instagram course comes with a bunch of pictures on their ads, one of his nice pens and stuff. And then I am speaking at the event in April right now. So you get 2 tickets to come out to that, which is pretty cool, as well as you get to have a free strategy session with Justin and myself. The reason being, I want to talk with anybody who's buying because I want to know where you are in your business, so that way I can help redirect you to what would be the fastest, best place to go to achieve your goal. So Empire 5000 brings you over to being able to purchase this if you're interested. Either way, doesn't really matter to me. I think you'll absolutely love it. It's going to help your business if you do. I like talking about it because I know it's helped me. But the reality was I just wanted to be able to share with you how to launch your business, how to be able to use this formula to get those profit spikes, and the strategies that go behind that. Okay? So if you guys have any questions, now would be the time. I know I went through a lot of this kind of quickly, but I wanted to be able to get through it in the time allotted. All right? So go ahead and type them in now. Otherwise, we'll call this a wrap and we'll jump on tomorrow. Like I said, we're going into, what was tomorrow? All right, product creation and sales. I've already created the presentation for that for tomorrow. It's good. It's probably the one I like the most out of all 3 of these. So definitely check back, watch the replay for that. Be on lookout for that because you'll definitely want to attend that one as well. All right. All right, well, you're welcome. Awesome. Okay, so I got some good feedback. I'm glad you guys appreciated that. If this launch formula is interesting to you, use it, apply it. There was a lot of information that I went through pretty quickly. So if you're kind of serious about actually, like, yeah, you want to do it, I almost want to say it would be so worth your while to get this. Because, I mean, it's literally like you buy leadership branding and you get the rest of this for free. That's literally how it is. And you'll be able to make your money back really, really well when you start implementing that. And again, it's upper level psychology, which is why this stuff works so well. So with that, thank you guys. I appreciate you being here. And I am going to hop off and I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great day. Bye-bye.